Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Harvin, for the excellent moderation. And also, thank you to all the speakers, all the participants that have given your precious and valuable time, especially in the hard times today, not only due to the pandemic, but due to the war everywhere, including in Nagorno-Karabakh. And before that, I'd like to also thank the committee, the organizers, for the initiatives, especially our co-organizer from Youth Forum for Kashmir, Mr. Zaman Bajwa, for the initiative for cooperation in holding this webinar, because this is the least we can do as the youth to initiate discussion for constructive dialogue, which hopefully could be forwarded to the respective stakeholders, partners, and policymakers that are directly can help alleviate the conflict. But before that, I'd like to check if the participants are still with us. Hello? Right. Let's make this a bit, more flexible. We know that it's way past the, we start way past the time, and it's already evening over here. Maybe in Baku and Islamabad, it's still evening, but not as late. So I'd like to ask all the participants here, would like to see your semangat, let's say. So I'd like you to say two things. We stand with Azerbaijan. Repeat after me.
We stand with
We stand with
Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan.
Stand with Azerbaijan.
We still have
Okay,
the
okay.
spirit, Miss Astrid. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
It's
one more
not
thing.
too late.
Karabakh is Azerbaijan.
Karabakh is
Karabakh is
Azerbaijan.
Okay. Thank you so
Karabakh
much.
is Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan.
Thank you so much for your response. It shows that we're indeed in support of Azerbaijan, and especially in the past 2 weeks since September 2020, there's been a very big escalation. It's the biggest actually uh, after the 2016 conflict, and also earlier this year in July, which one of the victims was unfortunately Mayor General Polat Hashimov, a very a good man in the Azerbaijani army. So we have heard from the speakers regarding the background, and also the stance of other countries, and also what Azerbaijan has achieved and what they have done in terms of diplomacy, and also from our welcoming speakers regarding the importance of supporting Azerbaijan as a fellow member OIC member state. It is our duty to support our brothers in need, and we are here to support. But as the representative of Indonesian youth, and as a young leader, as the Secretary General of OIC Youth Indonesia, in which there are more than 20 Muslim youth organizations with us, we are very saddened, and we regret also the lack of firm stance demonstrated by the government of Indonesia in responding to this conflict, unfortunately. Whereas in the past few weeks, we have heard that many countries, such as already mentioned, Turkey and also Pakistan, did not think twice in proving, a moral support to Azerbaijan, because unfortunately, in the early days of the escalation, uh, the media in Indonesia was not much reporting on it, and even if they did, then it's more heavy to the Armenian side, or to the fact that, okay, Turkey, they responded very quickly. What's wrong with that? And they spread fake news regarding, the additional mercenaries from the terrorists sent by Turkey. They're in Azerbaijan, when it is actually the reverse. So it's important to raise awareness But then again, uh, from the public of Indonesia, they still did not yet understand why we as Indonesians are of OIC Indonesia want to support Azerbaijan. So there are many, misconceptions, and also the lack of literacy and awareness. So I'd like to first start with the fact that, as mentioned by Mr. Tantan in the welcoming speech, it is our duty as Indonesia to follow the opening of the amendment of our Constitution 1945, in which, peace is our goal, and therefore, it is non-negotiable. And also in the Constitution number 37 in 1999, in terms of foreign affairs, the implementation of foreign affairs is not only, by the government, and it's based on principles of equal degree, mutual respect, and it is implied in the Pancasila and the 1945 Constitution preamble, in which objective is to participate in the world order that is free from colonialism, and our aim is eternal peace and social justice. And the implementation could be through the regional forum, international forum, multilateral, bilateral, and it is enshrined in the principle of free and active diplomacy. So the direction is already given by our forefathers, and we are regretful of the lack of implementation of this. And as youth, we're still striving regardless, and we're still pushing for our government, be it in the executive, in the ministry, or in the legislative, in the parliament, or the interparliamentary cooperation, to do more, to speak out more loud and clear for justice. And because the foreign affairs is not only carried out by the government, but can also be done by business entities, political organizations, community organizations, NGOs, or at the very least, the Indonesian citizens. So over here, I'd like to use the forum to speak as an Indonesian citizen and as a young leader of Muslim youth organization umbrella. And it's already stated in several articles of our constitution that free and active diplomacy is our direction, and it is implemented in a creative way, active, and not just routine. So therefore, in essence, as Indonesia, we should be more reactive and proactive in responding to conflict, especially regarding the Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict, in which there are many similarities and many commonalities between Indonesia and Azerbaijan. Even though Indonesia has diplomatic relations with Armenia, Indonesia should tap into that as well, because um, of the fact that we abide by free and active diplomacy, but it's not used as well. Because the thing is that Azerbaijan and Indonesia are member states of the OIC, and also, of course, the members of the UN, and also part of the non-aligned movement, or Indonesia, it's called Gerakan Non-Blok. Everyone we learn about it in our history books, and this is the real deal. Because first president of Indonesia, President Sukarno, was one of the co-founders of the non-aligned movement, which was basically based on the results of the 1955 Asia-Africa Conference, participated by countries all over Asia, Africa, and at that time, Azerbaijan was not yet present because it was still part of the Soviet Union, and later on joined, and Indonesia recognized Azerbaijan when it joined the UN in 1990. 2002. And then, firstly, Azerbaijan was the one who initiated the establishment of Embassy of Azerbaijan in Jakarta, and it was the first representative to all of ASEAN. It was in Jakarta. So Azerbaijan saw something in Indonesia, and we responded 4 years later in opening the Embassy of Indonesia to Azerbaijan in 2010. And a lot yet needs to be done in terms of cooperation, because in terms of, again, diplomacy, as stated by Mr. Ahmed Qureshi, there's something uh, that is exemplary from Azerbaijan in terms of diplomacy, in terms of, taking a role, because in the OIC and especially in the youth sector, they're very advanced. The human capital is also high, literacy is also high, education intake is also high. And again, because referring to the topic of the role of political elites and civil society, our political elites, our policymakers have a role in that. And if they don't see that, again, based on the principle of democracy led by inner wisdom in representation, fourth part of Pancasila, which is democracy. Our people are represented in the parliament, and also we choose the people to lead the country, and they're in the executive. So basically, they work for the people. And if they are, out of direction, if they seem to lack clear direction in terms of policy, then it is our duty to remind them. And it's not something to be shut down or shut down. It is something to be appreciated, especially coming from the youth as leaders of tomorrow. So it's not only a jargon, because youth are from 16 to 30, and these years are the forming years of any human. And youth are very dynamic. They especially in the pandemic, we see that the youth are more reactive in adapting to the change. We teach the other older generations how to use the Zoom, for example, how to make use of the internet. And we see on Twitter the activism in social media these days. Many generations, the boomer generations, the millennials, the youth, Generation Z, are using the Twitter to raise awareness, using Facebook to raise awareness, using hashtags. So it's not just a play, but it's to raise awareness. And we can see how many people support the cause. So the youth have a great role in that. And I'd like to emphasize the importance of the role of youth all over the world, and the role of us as Indonesian youth to spread awareness. We are the ones that have the privilege to be in this forum, in this pandemic, to meet with people that know the issue. And it is our duty, how many people here? 29 minus the speakers, around 20 people, to spread awareness to our peers and to stop sharing fake news. So this is one of our duties, and it's very important. And obviously, in terms of raising awareness, this conflict has been going on for 30 years. And again, we have seen in the statements of President Ilham Aliyev that other countries have said to stop fighting, go back to the negotiating table, maintain peace. But the thing is that, do we have to wait for another 30 years for this to stop? So we'd like to emphasize that it's important for uh, us to emphasize to the Indonesian government to pick a side, support Azerbaijan morally, because other countries have said stop fighting. But the thing is that yesterday there was the ceasefire, and yet today they attacked the city of Ganja. So again, stopping the aggression is non-negotiable. And regarding our actions, since 2008, under the general coordinator of ICYFDC at that time, uh, Her Excellency Ms. Leila Alieva launched the Justice for Hojali campaign to raise awareness about the genocide which happened in 1992. And Indonesia is one of the countries since 2000. 2010, 2011 was taking part actively in the campaign, and we have raised awareness to schools, universities. We made action in Bundaran HI, one of the important spots in Jakarta. And this year we did a campaign in University of Al-Azhar and many others. And regarding the escalation of 27 September 2020, we wrote and spread articles on the importance of the issue. And also, we see that it's important for Indonesia to reconsider relations with Armenia. Why? Because the thing is that we see from the ceasefire, they still do violence. We see that as of 9th September, Azerbaijan army freed many villages, and but then again, the Armenia army attacked major cities, including Mingashever, including Ganja, which are far away from the conflict zone, which means that they are getting, more desperate. So it's important, again, to raise our understanding and raise our voice loud and clear as possible, and not to undermine any small effort, because it does really count. It really counts. And our action also included spreading statements in terms of video, which is already uploaded in the ICYF social media websites, and also raising awareness through social media and approaching to our parliament members. Actually, personally, we shared them the videos, the statements, and everything. And our efforts were not gone to vain. On the 1st of October, which is a bit late, especially the escalation started in 27 September, and also the first this year in July, Indonesia government, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs released a statement in the 1st of October. But then again, still we don't see any clear stance. And on the 6th of October, the Interparliamentary Cooperation also released a statement, but this time it's more vocal and more to the Azerbaijan side, but still taking a safe stance, guided by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs statement. So this webinar or discussion is the first since the escalation organized by us, co-organized with the Youth Forum for Kashmir, which we are very thankful for. And actually, next week, we're going to conduct another one, which fully conducted in Indonesian, because we don't want language to be a barrier. So there should be no excuse after this for us as Indonesian youth to not be aware. And after that, there will be further actions. Uh, Actually, earlier this week, we had demonstrations regarding the job creation law, which was in violation of the quarantine regime, the social restrictions. So if the situation is still not yet in our favor, if the government is still not yet listening, then we're going to, take on the streets as well. So with that, I'd like to emphasize again that, diplomacy, again, is not only by the state, but there's a multi-track diplomacy. We can do awareness to literacy and also culture, cultural understanding, through arts. And this is something that we are working on as well. Earlier in this webinar, we played a song, tribute to Azerbaijan Justice for Hojali, written by our chairman of Youth Council, Mr. Tantan Taufik Lubis, and inshallah will be released very soon, inshallah. So with that, I'd like to thank the organizers and everyone for the time, and we hope we can have a fruitful discussion, inshallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.